Hello and welcome to the DebtCircle Market Wrap. I'm Leela, bringing you today's key updates from India's debt markets. Let's begin with the top 5 highest yield listed corporate bonds. Monedo Financial Services Private Limited recorded a yield of 17.00% with a trade value of 49.00 lakh rupees. Dwara Kshetriya Gramin Financial Services Private Limited recorded a yield of 16.00% with a trade value of 300.00 lakh rupees. Akara Capital Advisors Private Limited recorded a yield of 15.84% with a trade value of 5.00 lakh rupees. Muthoot Capital Services Limited recorded a yield of 15.00% with a trade value of 0.03 lakh rupees. Ambium Finserv Limited recorded a yield of 15.00% with a trade value of 0.10 lakh rupees. Now moving to the top 5 highest yield unlisted corporate bonds. Elan Malls Private Limited recorded a yield of 15.00% with a trade value of 2,478.50 lakh rupees. Apex Homes Private Limited recorded a yield of 14.00% with a trade value of 3,950.22 lakh rupees. Nuvama Wealth Finance Limited recorded a yield of 9.00% with a trade value of 30.00 lakh rupees. Anand Rathi Global Finance Limited recorded a yield of 8.00% with a trade value of 160.00 lakh rupees. Anand Rathi Financial Services Limited recorded a yield of 8.00% with a trade value of 10.00 lakh rupees. Moving on to mutual fund debt transactions. Gross purchases stood at 14,425.49 crore rupees. Gross sales stood at 15,092.97 crore rupees. Net investment was negative 667.48 crore rupees. The month-to-date net investment for July stands at negative 8,056.040 crore rupees. Now, let's look at foreign portfolio investor debt market investments. Under the general limit, gross purchases stood at 384.00 crore rupees. Under voluntary retention route or VRR, gross purchases were 0.00 crore rupees. Under the fully accessible route or FAR, gross purchases stood at 669.18 crore rupees. Gross sales under the general limit were 155.82 crore rupees. Gross sales under VRR were 87.76 crore rupees. Gross sales under FAR stood at 137.90 crore rupees. Net investment under the general limit was 228.18 crore rupees. Net investment under VRR was negative 87.76 crore rupees. Net investment under FAR stood at 531.28 crore rupees. For the month of July, net investment under the general limit stands at 10,593.38 crore rupees. Net investment under VRR stands at negative 3,384.00 crore rupees. Net investment under FAR stands at 8,224.66 crore rupees. Year to date, for the calendar year 2026, net investment under the general limit stands at 37,818 crore rupees. Net investment under VRR stands at negative 3,090 crore rupees. Net investment under FAR stands at 44,490 crore rupees. Now, on to the money market rates. The call rate closed at 5.34%, the tri-party repo rate stood at 5.23%, basket repo stood at 5.36%, special repo stood at 5.18%. Here are the India government bond yields. The 1-year government bond yield stood at 5.81%. The 3-year yield stood at 6.21%. The 5-year yield stood at 6.45%. The 7-year yield stood at 6.63%. The 9-year yield stood at 6.78%. The 10-year yield stood at 6.79%. The 15-year yield stood at 7.00%. The 30-year yield stood at 7.43%. Moving to the Treasury bill yield and auction cutoff. The 91-day Treasury bill yielded 5.33%. The 182-day Treasury bill yielded 5.57%. The 364-day Treasury bill yielded 5.72%. Now, the liquidity indicators. Net liquidity injected stood at negative 80,945 crore rupees. The Standing Deposit Facility, or SDF, stood at 153,619 crore rupees. The Marginal Standing Facility, or MSF, stood at 623 crore rupees. Let's move to the MIBOR OIS rates. The 1-year rate stood at 5.94%. The 2-year rate stood at 6.11%. The 3-year rate stood at 6.23%. The 5-year rate stood at 6.41%. Now, the modified MIFOR rates. The 2-year rate stood at 6.97%. The 3-year rate stood at 7.00%. The 4-year rate stood at 0.00%. The 5-year rate stood at 7.16%. Let's look at today's currency rates. The US dollar traded at 96.26 rupees compared to the previous level of 96.42 rupees. The euro traded at 109.92 rupees compared to the previous level of 110.20 rupees. The British pound traded at 129.16 rupees compared to the previous level of 129.80 rupees. The Japanese yen traded at 0.59 rupees, unchanged from the previous level of 0.59 rupees. The Chinese yuan traded at 14.24 rupees compared to the previous level of 14.25 rupees. Now for commodities and market indices. Gold, 24 carat with purity of 99.9%, was priced at 13,220 rupees per 10 grams, compared to the previous price of 14,346 rupees. Silver was priced at 2,350 rupees per 10 grams, unchanged from the previous level of 2,350 rupees. Crude oil traded at $90.43 US, compared to the previous level of $86.91 US. The Sensex closed at 77,470.11, compared to the previous close of 77,708.52. The Nifty closed at 24,187.70, compared to the previous close of 24,238.50. Finally, let's look at today's India primary issuance in corporate bonds. Aadhar Housing Finance Limited announced an issuance of 350 crore rupees with a tenure of 60 months. The coupon is yet to be announced. The issue carries an AA rating from ICRA Limited. Aditya Birla Digital Fashion Ventures Limited announced an issuance of 500 crore rupees with a tenure of 37 to 39 months across multiple tranches. The coupon ranges from 8.85% to 9.00%. The issue carries an AA- rating from CRISIL Ratings Limited. That's all for today's DebtCircle Market Wrap. I'm Leela. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again with the next market update.